Hello and welcome to another Stellarian Games video. In this episode, we're going to be looking at how to make a creature from scratch, or a whole bunch of creatures from scratch. And these are these little sand demons. This is a three-eyed variation. I've made a whole bunch of little one-eyed variations as well. And I wanted something to be a little bit more unique in my desert terrains that would reflect the nature of the place, but also give some unique challenge to players that wouldn't, I guess, follow normal conventions of other creatures from other rule books. So these creatures are designed to be sort of, I guess, conglomerations of sand around a smaller demon-like creature. It burrows into the sand and then takes on the sand as a larger form. The eyeballs feature prominently. They're kind of all on little eye stalks on the demon, and those eye stalks were meant to be kind of its weak point. If you can cut the eye stalks off and then destroy the eye separately, that's sort of how you kill it. The sand demon itself is sort of just a blob of sand, so a little bit harder to kill. So that was the idea, is to create kind of more of a puzzle creature for players to figure out, and that's what these turned into. So let's go to the table and see how these are done. All right, for this craft, we're going to start by using some fence wire. This is just steel wire that I'm bending into some rough shapes for the tentacles of these sand demons. I'm putting a little drop of hot glue on just so that it holds them together, and then starting to bulk it out a little bit with a little bit of tinfoil wrapped around the body of it. That will form kind of the bulk of the demon. Poking through another couple different wires and hot gluing the tips of those right alongside the tinfoil, and then using pliers and bending those again into more tentacle shapes. Adding some hot glue along the wires themselves to give them a little bit more bulk and organic look to them, so they're not just thin wires. This will also help the sand to adhere to them a little bit later on too. I'm gluing on some small beads, round beads. These will form the eyeballs of these demons. This is a large version with 3 eyes. I'll be working some smaller ones a little bit later with some smaller eyes. All right, now we're coating the whole thing in white glue up into the right alongside the eyeball. Tried to avoid the eye itself so that it would have a nice smooth eyeball still exposed. But otherwise coating the whole thing in white glue. Then just dipping it into sand, coating the entire surface of it with that sand. All right, now working on some smaller ones. These have fewer tentacles, smaller bit of tinfoil, and a single eye mounted onto these. So these are going to be kind of the hordes, where the larger ones are a little bit more of the end boss, sand demon, if you will. As you can see, you can make a whole bunch of these relatively quickly, so if you want to make a whole bunch of them, it's pretty simple. Doing the same thing as the large one, coating it all in white glue, and then dunk it into the sand to give it the texture. Once that glue dries, the sand is pretty well adhered to it, but you definitely want to coat it in paint later on too. Now I'm cutting out some very small wires into 3 little chunks, making 2 V's in a straight, and then adding a dollop of hot glue next to them. The dollop is going to form the shell of the little scarab beetles, and just letting those dollops harden, and then putting a little drop on the wires themselves and gluing them on top. Now coating the demons themselves in a black spray paint, and starting with a dark brown undercoat on these that will give it kind of that nice earthy texture, or earthy color, and then using kind of a sand camel color to start highlighting, and then going to more like a linen color to pick out the final highlights of the sand color. Doing the same color scheme with the small ones, and then highlighting with the sand colors the same way as the large ones. Now I'm coating the eyeballs in kind of a green, necrotic green color, but I didn't like how that looked, so I ended up going with a little bit more of an ochre yellow, leaving a little bit of the green around the edge, but that ochre yellow gives it a little bit more vibrant eye color. Then with a little bit of black, I'm coming in and painting the eye pupils as well. That will hide the bead circle and give the creature a little bit more alien look. Doing that with all of the small ones as well. And coating a little bit of that ochre onto the beetles to give them the same pattern, so you know they're sort of in the same family. Again, the beetles burrow themselves into the sand and come out as these demons. Hitting the pupils on the small ones too, and also on the beetles themselves. Lastly, I'm coating the surface of those eyeballs in a gloss medium that will give them a nice shiny look and make them look a little bit more alive. All right, here's the finished product. This one is, again, pretty simple to make your own creatures, but they end up being really quite alien and foreign, and you can do all sorts of interesting, crazy mechanics with them. So I hope you like this video. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.